Coming up on The Returned.
I exploded out of my body, 45-degree angle, a million miles an hour. And it felt like my body arced like this. I still had a body. I said, in my last human words were, I'm finally free. And my whole body disintegrated, was gone. The earth and this lifetime just evaporated. And I was like this pure awareness traveling at unimaginable speed. And I felt this freedom burst from the center of my being.
Hi, and welcome to The Returned. The truth always follows you back. Hi, and welcome to The Returned, a place where we share near-death stories, out-of-body experiences, spiritual awakenings, signs from spirit, and the journeys of healers and lightworkers from around the world. Today, I have the honor of sitting with John Kelley. His experience is one of transformation, remembrance, and awakening. His near-death experience at just 19 years old, an event that didn't just change his life, but redirected it entirely. John, welcome to The Returned.
Nice to finally meet you.
You as well. And this has been fun so far. So how about we start with this? Before we talk about experiences that changed your life, how about we learn about who you were before your near-death experience, what your inner world was like growing up, and did spiritual or religion play any part of your life or any role in your life at that time?
Okay. So I was born on the Northwest Washington coast in Bellingham, Washington. And my mother was an angel and my father was a devil. I mean, he was very disturbed. He's all mellow now and everything. But so I was born into a highly violent situation, and I was the firstborn. So it was a mess. And my half brother from my dad's first marriage, two of them came, but one of them got taken back to Texas by a team and his mother. And they left Mark. And so, yeah, I saw my mom getting her nose broke like 7 times, and the police, and my dad was a drinker, and it was pretty dangerous situation. And when I was 7, my mom said I begged her for 1 year every day, crying for her to divorce my dad, and she always wondered where I learned the word divorce. and uh, and she finally did it under threat of him killing us all and burying us in the back 40, and if she tried to leave. And so that was my first imprint, the first 8 years of my life. And then not pretty. And then I became, well, I was pretty intro, or like not, I was pretty messed up, and I didn't know you don't ever know at first, what's going on. You're just functioning and trying to survive. And so I when I was by the time I was 13, I decided to start taking martial arts because of the imprint of thinking I needed to know how to defend myself, and so that was really liberating for me, and also showed me about, it's where the first system I learned, or was learning, I discovered powerful women. Women were focused and powerful, and I'm talking serious power. Like, martial art was. And and so I didn't know anything. And so I didn't think anything about women. It's just all of a sudden I had this comparative analysis between my mother getting abused and a woman who nobody could abuse her. Like, and so I fell in love with powerful women,
Mm.
or female, the female empowered female. And so that was a big shifter in my life. And I moved on to 2 different systems of martial arts after the first one. And um, I I was not a normal person, like a big imagination. And I I learned more than I was shown in school, in training, because I could see into things. I could see where things come from, how they're applied, and where they lead to. Like and I was like a prodigy sort of martial artist in the sense that I was creative and imaginative, and I could teach myself, draw on in my internal intelligence. And so I had, oh yeah, my family was Christian. My grandparents were ministers. They had their own church. Uh, they were truly unconditional love and kindness people. And my mom also. And so that was a good thing because it kept my heart alive. Because no matter what I did or how wild I was, they always accepted me with unconditional love and kindness. And it was amazing, especially my grandpa, because he was one of the few males I've even met on Earth that live the way I would assume males were supposed to be living, not distorted, but balanced and loving,
Mhm.
not paternal like a female, but paternal like a male, or maternal, I mean, maternal. And like that love and kindness, like amazing beings. And so they were basically what held me on the path of good. And so I had a good nature when I was being wild instead of a bad nature. Otherwise, I'd probably be working for the government in some foreign country right now if I would have went the other way, or be dead. And so, uh, so I was pretty wild. I had a big reputation. I was a fighter, like 270 full contact fights. I only lost the first one. And so then I graduated from, I was out of high school. My friends and I, this is where the NDE actually starts, the beginning of it. And we wanted to get away from our hometown.
Mm.
So away from people who had us pigeonholed a certain way. My friend was a Golden Gloves boxer. He was 190 pounds, best friend since the 5th grade. And his brother, and we decided to go to Arizona to on an adventure, and also to try to find work and just start over. And uh and so we had enough money, because everyone's making money somehow. And so we had enough money to take off, pooling our money, and we were in this little truck, like a Ford Courier, you know, these 3 guys, most of the time, one of us was in the back sleeping in a sleeping bag or something as we're driving. And the truck broke down a couple times in a row, and we had to spend most of our money, a good portion of our money, fixing it. And so, so we ended up making it to Arizona, and my friend had an aunt there, but we never really visited her. I remember meeting her one time later on, after we did find work, after I died and all that stuff happened. But so we were trying to start over, and we didn't want to break the law or anything crazy, right? And the reason I say that is because we were really low on money, and we were hungry. We ran out of food. And we tried to go to the food bank, but we didn't have a state ID, so they said get lost. There's millions of people around there, and so they had to basically say that to keep the food for the people who lived in the area. And then we went to a lot of different churches asking for money for gas and food, and I think they had a lot of people doing that, so we didn't get any. Oh yeah, one time we got $20 from someone. Definitely wasn't the Mormons. They said, "Are you Mormon?" We said, "No." They said, "Go away. If you're not Mormon, we're not even going to talk to you." And like, so, uh, so we ended up starving for somewhere around a week and a half or so, or 2 weeks maybe. And I don't really remember. A long time though. And to the point where we weren't hungry anymore. And all of our minds, all three of us, were off. We were like in a state of being, like the yogi masters that do different deprivations to bring themselves to that state of no mind. Well, I didn't know about that yet. All I knew is we had no responsibilities, nowhere to be, no one to answer to. And so there's nothing pulling on us. And that's what I, in retrospect, attribute to everything that followed. uh, so I don't know if I should say it, but I probably should, just to open people's minds to the potential of what we're capable of. So we're driving down, in Phoenix, Arizona, way back then, like I think it was 86 or something. One road through the city, you could drive back then for 50 minutes to an hour straight. And you're still in the city. It's huge, massive town. Now, who knows how big it got. I mean, that's a long time ago, like 40 years ago or something. So, so we're driving along, and in Arizona, it's a desert, and the most of it, and this giant black cloud bank is coming towards us, huge, like thousands of feet tall or whatever, massive, dark black. Like here it comes, and then these big giant drops of rain, like 3 inches long, hit the window, and we're just. I'm in the passenger seat, Corey's in the middle, and Rick's over here driving. And we're all just like in a state of being, like in a state of nothing. And and all of a sudden, when those first few drops hit the window, I had this massive charge go through me. And we had all our backpacks in the open back, right? And here comes a massive rainstorm, right? And so out of nowhere, one idea came through me. And I said, "We need a tarp." And I was looking at them because I was on the passenger side, so to my left. In unison, they looked at their brothers. They looked at me and said, "Yeah," at the same time. And we all started to look back towards the road because we're driving. And as I was starting to look away from them, in midair, in the air, over this like half a mile square abandoned parking lot with broken parking medians and strips and grass growing out of it, this blue tarp materializes out of thin air, fully open, with a cracking noise, crack, and blew in front of us, right in front of the truck. And they didn't see it happen. I saw it, but not directly. I just was swinging my vision, and it happened on my left peripheral. And it blew, and he wrapped around a telephone pole, just like that. right when we decreed it. I didn't know anything about that kind of stuff in those days, although uh, now I did. I mean, at that moment, and I says, pull over, and we pulled over, jumped out, because all of us saw the tarp go in front, and grabbed it. It was like the perfect size. It was like 6 foot by, I don't even know, by 4 foot. I don't even know how big it was, but it tucked perfectly under all three of our backpacks. And then we jumped back in the truck and we're driving again. They did not see it happen. I saw it. And so I was already pretty wild, imaginatively wild. I mean, I said things that, yeah, that's just your imagination type stuff. People would say, like, of what I thought was possible, what potential possibilities. Like I was pretty inspirational person, and I didn't want to tell them what I saw and what happened because I thought that would push it over the edge, and it would discount me forever. They would be like, "Yeah, whatever," like. So I didn't say anything to them about it, and then so that happened. That's the first time in my life it happened. It happened later on, also, which I won't mention yet, and so we're cruising along. Everything's back. Finally it faded. I didn't even think about it anymore. We're in that state of being again. I mean, you'd think I would never be able to let go of the idea, but somehow I did. And we're just cruising. And then I don't know how many days later, I had another big inspiration come through me. And it was giving blood for money so we could eat. I mean, how did I not think? Well, I guess we weren't thinking at all at that point. And so, that came from the depths of wherever in my own being, like boom. And so we went to one of the 4.5 or 5-inch thick phone books back when they had telephone booths. And we found one, and it was in Mesa, Arizona. It's a little suburb, kind of on the edge of Phoenix. And we went there, and it was a plasma bank, which they spin out the plasma and they put the blood back in your arm. And so the first thing they did, we walk in there, it's like 120 degrees outside. I'm in shorts, a button-up shirt that's unbuttoned. Back then I had long blonde hair.
The
Yeah.
good old days.
Yeah. I think after, well, I don't want to give away the later, so I can't say that. So they hand us clipboards, and it says on there, you have to have 3 square meals a day for 7 days in a row before they can take blood out of your body. And also right over there was a full rack of freshly baked bread that was donated. And we're like, looked at each other, signed, gave it back. We didn't even say anything. We just were in sync. We got straight over there, started grab loaves of bread. We started eating them while we were waiting. And so they come and get us and take us back there. And there's like 60 reclining seats, 4 rows. And the middle's facing out like this, and the wall's facing in like that. And so Rick was back there, but I was facing that way. So I was in the 3rd row, and he was offset. I don't know where his brother was. And they plug in that fork prong size needle, and it's just a massive needle. And yeah, you wouldn't want to pass out with one of those things draining you. And but that's pretty much what happened. So I all of a sudden I started feeling, I never passed out before, except for in high school. I almost did when I smashed my finger lifting weights, like on a beam. When I grabbed a 10-pounder and I went behind my head and I hit the corner right on my finger. I almost passed out, but I used breathing techniques and kept myself in my body. And although my whole body was washed over with pain. But since then, I learned how to isolate pain and leave it where it is and not let it wash over my body. It didn't take me long after that to discover that. But uh, so I'm about to pass out. It felt like seriously, like, ugh! And my head kind of turns this way. I was like reeling, and this guy in a white coat with a clipboard way over there, he like looks up right into my eyes and he's like, "Are you okay?" And before he could finish the K part, I was trying to say no, but my vision was going like specks, like on a blank TV channel from the old days, was going like, and it was growing from the center of my eyeballs. And all of a sudden, it was like my vision was going out or something. And I heard and kind of felt, but more heard the ripping of Velcro ripping apart. That's what it sounded like. I don't even know if Velcro existed back then, but that's what it sounded like. Really intense, like loud, I mean. And it was me separating from my body. And it was right when that guy was finishing the word okay, I exploded out of my body like at a 45-degree angle or so, like a million miles an hour. And it felt like my body arced like this. I still had a body for a minute, for a split second. And I said, and my last human words were, "I'm finally free." And my whole body disintegrated, was gone. And the earth and this lifetime just evaporated. And I was like this pure awareness traveling at unimaginable speed. Uh, and I felt this freedom burst from the center of my being forever. Like, like it was the sun shining light, kind of like it never ended. And it wasn't overwhelming. It was ecstatic, but not overwhelming. It was like, boom, and boom, this freedom. And then this joy, like most likely from the freedom, but I wasn't thinking once again, like when we were starving, like I was just experiencing directly, right? Boom. And this joy, like I've only felt it a few times for like a minute since then. Both of those things, that kind of freedom and that kind of joy. And they were related also when I felt them again later in my life for a moment. And they were together, I mean. And so I'm flying a million miles an hour, and all of a sudden I start introspecting, and I inverted I like started looking around, like I was just pure awareness, but I was still able to direct my attention, like, and I inverted, and I saw like three different color of speckling energy, and it was folding on itself like this. And now I know that that was a carrier for my awareness. And it wasn't me. It wasn't a body, like an energy body or something. Like I was in it though, in this wad of speckling energy, but it was like folding on itself instead of just traveling. Like it was a trip. And because I was going like a million miles an hour or speed of light or whatever. And so that's a lot of folding on itself. And but I'm all calm, and I look, and then I look around, and I'm going that way, and there's speckles of energy, and and then all of a sudden I got curious. Like in human words, where am I going? That's what I would have been saying or wondering, but it was more pure without words. And right in that moment, oh, everything stopped. Like right then when I wondered, and I got this full upload of the answer through my whole being. like on all levels, like realization, comprehension, visual, knowing, like all the things that we still have here as the nature that we are. And this is part of our nature. And so that's how stuff comes through. And so I stopped right before the belly of full reimmersion into my larger being. But I was far enough back. If I was going to measure it, I'd say like 50 feet or something, or 150. I almost didn't come back. I almost went. Well, actually, I don't think that's true, because I wasn't the one running that show. It was that thing. And that thing was this massive ball. Like, I couldn't even see its parameters. It was so huge, of pure energy. And it was pushed into the membrane of this dimension, or this universe, like pushing on a balloon a little bit.
Mm.
It was ported into this dimension and had shot it. The whole upload was pretty amazing. I was an extension of that thing, an investment of energy into this world. And it was reeling its investment back into the main body. So it was like an extension, like an octopus's arm or something, or
Mm.
a long spaghetti noodle or something of energy. And
Oh my goodness.
so in the vision I got when it uploaded was that that's me, the larger me, and that the energy that it invested wasn't the same as that energy right there, the pure energy. It was tooled to respond specifically to stimuli in this dimension and world
Okay.
for the purpose of growth, like growing certain traits. So my nature was adjusted. The larger nature adjusted a piece of its energy and put it here. And that's this right here. Took on the elements of this world, built a body, an energy body, then a body. And so I got this big old upload, and then everything like shifted, like literally like that, and I was being moved somewhere else. And I got moved into the void, what some people call the void. And the void is simply pure energy with no stars. It's just pure energy, like without any differentiation in there. And a lot of things, I don't try to like give it a definition, because I want to be able to discover more about it instead of thinking I know. If I don't really know, I wait. I won't try to think I know. You see what I mean? Or try to describe it or figure it out. And so I'm in this void. I as the awareness. There was zero speckling energy and zero body parameters. And I didn't think, I forgot about John and the earth and all that. It didn't even happen. As far as I understood, there was no memory of this world. And you'll understand why in a minute. And at least I'm still understanding some of this. But so now all of a sudden, boom, I'm looking at this outline of a body. It's like an energy body, kind of.
Mhm.
And it was this body, but I didn't remember this body. And so I was just all of a sudden I'm observing this body way over there. And I could kind of feel it, but I felt more out of it than in it. And there was these huge waves of energy, like wind gusts, woof, going through the body. And the body was like inflating like this and then dropping. Woof, woof, like that. And on the third one, here comes my kitty. Hey there. Hey there, big guy. Oh, you want to come on film? He's my big 22-pound Manx.
Oh, they're the best. That's what I grew up with.
Yeah. Okay. And so on the third puff of energy or blast of energy, literally, it pulled me into the body, the feeling of it. Like, because I could feel a little bit of it, but I was mostly out here. So I was experiencing dual awareness. And then I was looking out the eye, what would be considered the eyeballs of this thing or this energy body. I still had no frame of reference yet. And all of a sudden I got this feeling washed over me that of like pure creator power, like being creator, like literally you are creator, like for real. The feeling of what that feels like, and it just flushed through me. And then I heard a noise way over there. And all of a sudden, my curiosity tuned into it, and boom, I was there. And there was nothing. And I was just now I didn't feel creator or anything. That was a flash or a flood. And then boom, on to something else. I was being distracted over there, I guess. And then I'm over there. And then I heard another noise, but it was down like that way. And so again, my curiosity brought me from here to here, like just like that, instantaneous. I was now over there and moving, flowing, and I went into this sort of like a tunnel, but it was pretty big, and it was like fog, like white fog. You could see about this far. I could perceive about this deep, like this far into it, and I'm just floating. Da, 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 da. I mean, you know, I was just an unwitting bystander to my own experience, like I was getting distracted. I was getting maneuvered all over the place, by the all-knowing level that I know.
You were having like major squirrel moments.
The whole thing was orchestrated. I got to give my cat somewhere to look outside. So the whole thing was orchestrated. I discovered that later, but so here I am floating through the fog. La la la. I didn't meet anyone in this whole experience, by the way, except for my true being, like, which is a massive ball of energy. Like, it's like, are you a planet? Like, or what am I? Like a planet trying to experience a life form that isn't a planet. I mean, I don't know. So, uh, so I mean, it was big enough, like the moon or something. So, so I'm floating through this white fog dimension or whatever it was, because it wasn't the void anymore. I got tricked into putting my awareness over there, and now I'm floating along, la 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 la, and I hit my right calf in this world. I like ran into it. It was in another dimension. So here I am in one dimension, then shifted to another one, and now I got tricked into putting my awareness into that one, and I'm flowing through, and then I hit my calf in this dimension. Like literally, and when I ran into my leg, which I couldn't see, by the way, it was just fog. All of a sudden I felt my whole body. And I had already peed my pants or my shorts. And I could sense people everywhere. And then whatever that level of my being that was orchestrating this whole thing twanged the idea of embarrassment. Just a quick flash of it. Because I had nothing back yet. I didn't even know anything. And so I like launched into my body because of that embarrassment potential and tried to stop the rest of my release because I was about to poop my pants on top of peeing. I already unloaded the urine because I died. And, you let go of everything. You're not there to hold it together anymore.
Yeah.
So, I like, it's like, Yeah, it's pretty funny. Uh,
Sorry.
and so I like
Oh my goodness.
literally came forward, my fist like that. And the first thing I said was, "Did I pee my pants?" But it sounded like I was way far away when I said it because I wasn't back in my body all the way, you know. But the deeper level of my being or whatever that was orchestrating this whole thing twanged that embarrassment thing. And so it was a trigger, right? I wasn't back yet. But that brought me into my body, that's for sure. And this guy shoved me back down and he started slapping my face like, crap, crap. And I know he was getting away with it because he knew I wasn't back yet. And but my whole head was rocking. Like, and he's like, "What's your name?" Bam! "What's your name?" Bam! And
Oh,
thank God I did all that martial art training or I might got whiplash or something. And uh, so all of a sudden I got this flash of irritation right through the center. It was like as big around as my pinky. This quick flash, boom, a pure irritation. It like flowed through though. It was a burst. And I stopped my head and looked him right in the eyes. And I focused to answer him. And when I did, this piece of energy about 2.5 foot long, shaped like a capsule, like appeared in the air and plugged in. It was like white, opaque white, and the tip of it plugged into my head right here, into this hemisphere at an angle like that. So if you could see energy, there's this huge thing sticking out of my head, right? And I had the answer. It was like this living program of my life. Like when I focused to give him the answer, I called it back. It appeared, click, and plugged in. And then he started slapping me again because he knew I wasn't back all the way. Boom! And then some guy jumps in and puts a smelling salt under my nose. Ooh! And I was like, and he's like cracking, you know, they're really getting it going there. And he's like, "Where are you?" And so I got that flash of irritation again, burst through and out the top of my head. And I stopped my head and I focused to answer him. And another piece of energy, a little smaller, about this big, about 2 foot or so. It was a little wider and it had this energy going up and down inside of it. Like it was like a ping pong on the old video game where it bounces off the edges. Ding, ding, ding. And it appeared and plugged into this hemisphere. And I had my whole life back. Everything. I knew everything. My entire compilation was stored in those two things. And when I left and my body dissolved, when I said I'm finally free, those had been disconnected and put somewhere else. And it's probably in that big, huge moon-sized entity I am. And like, so, well, I mean, size is relative, you know, it could have been this big. Like, I could have been like a speck of sand, you know, like, so, uh, so now I'm back, right? And the, the guys in white, they're like, "Should we keep taking blood?" And he's like, "Yeah, it won't happen again." And so they finished that pint, took
wow.
it off, spun it out, brought it back, put it back in my body through with a saline solution. I could taste the plastic, by the way, and it was in, you know, and so they took another one after that. They took another pint, spun out, and then I was done. Oh yeah, I forgot the whole time. I just got a flash. Rick was back there. He was plugged in too, and he's like, "John, John," and he couldn't get up. He couldn't come over because he was plugged into his. That's right. And I remember that. Uh, of course, after I came back, and so so then my time was up. So I got up, and there was a puddle of urine in the reclining chair. They lied to me. They said I didn't. When I said, "Did I pee my pants?" No. That's what he said. I forgot to say less, I think. And I got up and I was like, then I was embarrassed again, but in living motion, you know, like not a burst that got me to launch back into my body and try to stop the natural processes. You know, doesn't that sound like a human? Like trying to
Mhm.
stop the natural processes, like instead of flowing with life. But anyway, uh, so I took off, got my $20, went out to the truck and changed out of my stuff, my shorts and shirt, and back into another short and shirt. And I was in thongs too. It was so hot out. And we didn't have air conditioning. You know, you lean against the seat,
Oh,
lean forward, and your whole back's wet with sweat, like that quick. And so I never told, for the same reason, I never told anyone right away about it. I didn't tell my friends because that again would have tipped it over the edge and they would have never believed me again. You know? At least that's what I thought. I was just like, I'm not
mhm.
even telling them. And I was thinking about it and remembering everything, like going, kind of reliving it. And I was like, uh, you know, whatever. And so we ended up finding work a little later, pulling trusses like on these houses that were being built, this development. It was really hot. And I can remember shaking the truss when Rick was passing out from the heat way over there on the second story. I would like boom, put a wobble through it and it would wake him back up. And like I'm like, oh my God. So we ended up coming back to going back to Washington, like you know, after we made some money. And uh I as soon as I was able to hit the libraries and the back then I don't even know if compute I think computers were around, like, but not many of them. I'm not sure, actually. And I started going to all the libraries and researching, trying to find. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that in the beginning. Like when I was in the fifth grade, I was researching, hunting for all the mysteries in life, and the only ones I found were the Loch Ness, UFOs, uh, Bigfoot, and I think that's it. And they always got your attention, ran you in a circle, and led you nowhere, waiting for the authorities to come out with the truth.
Mhm. They
Authority,
still do that.
yeah. So I noticed that when I was in the fifth grade, and it really bothered me because I didn't trust outside self-proclaimed authority over me because of my father, and so I was pretty much a independent in my thinking and actions, and without asking, usually, like my mom, she'd be like, "Be back at 9," and I'd come back at midnight when I was 12. You know, like just freaking her out. You know, my poor mom. I hope I wasn't part of the reason she ended up dying. Like, you know,
No, you were not.
okay.
You were not.
It was the chemotherapy and the radiation therapy that killed her. But anyway, uh, in 2009, for those listening, so so I started looking for the answer. Yeah, I wanted to understand what I experienced because, for one thing, I experienced myself as an entire different being without remembering this personality.
Mhm.
And as far as I could recall, I never had not been that being. And so that was the feeling when I was going over it in my mind, or you know, going through it. I was like, it was like I had never not been that being, and like this never even happened. But then when I came back, everything got plugged back into that series of things I said before, uh, and now I had two experiences. I experienced myself as a being that I always had been, that wasn't this being, or this the way I know myself here, but now I'm this person dominantly, and I couldn't sort out the difference
Okay.
of the energy being or whatever awareness being I am, and whatever that really is, and whatever that really is, and and then the personality, the way I've come to know myself to be in relationship with everything outside of me as the bio expression here. So I researched and researched, and I didn't find anyone. I've discovered NDEs through books, and Of course, it was aptly named, except for it should be you died and came back, because
Hmm.
if you did. And so I ended up going on a mission, because when I trained in martial arts, I saw masters do supernatural things, like bend rebar on their throat right here, 7 pieces at once. The black belts would push them in, hold it with a cloth on their hands, thick cloth, fold it over and over, and they get down in a low stance and hold the rebar, bare rebar, cut rebar on this guy's throat. And I could, back then, before any of this other stuff happened, I could see bubbles popping in the air of energy. Like he was harnessing something, and he just go and lean forward, and all 7 of them would bend in half. And then we tried to bend them back. We couldn't even budge. Standing up, pulling. And this guy, and so I knew instinctively that we have a power. There's something we're capable of, things that are supernatural. They're not normal. We can harness our power. We have something that is more than we realize, and some people train and bring it forward. I knew this. And so I knew, so because of knowing that, I started hunting. I knew that someone had to know the answer that I was looking for. And so I hunted and hunted, and every person I would ask, do you know meditation, or do you have any special teachers or anything? Because I knew about meditation a little bit from martial arts training. And so, and they would be like, nah, whatever, no, I couldn't get paid her. Right. And then one day, this older guy came over to my friend's house, a friend of his, and I asked every, and he says, yeah, I do. And I was like all over him. Like, he's like, calm down, calm down. He goes, I'll talk to you in a minute. I got to talk to Joel. And so he walks up to me. I was just sitting in the living room. He walks up and hands me a piece of paper like this. And he says, I opened it up and there's an address, just an address. And he says, don't tell him I sent you. Because I was so intense, right? And I mean, at that point, I could jump 8 feet in the air in a Victorian house and kick the giant lofty door or cross beams and shake the whole house. And
Wow.
I mean, I had harnessed some of that power with zero understanding and intelligence, like, and so, which is a very dangerous mix. It's like gas and matches, and so I just wasn't capable yet. And um that's and so I went ahead and went over there the next day, and on the big sign it said the Washington Psychic Institute, Church of Divine Man.
Mm.
And I was like, I couldn't bring myself to touch that door handle. I'm telling you, it was like that door and when I did, it changed my whole life to this very moment. Like, so I was like, and so I just left the porch and went over to the store right over there. And back then I wasn't an organic non-GMO eater. I didn't even know it existed. And I grabbed a Snicker bar and a Dr. Pepper and I slammed them, and my body felt better. This is something I learned, that we can calm our body down with food. A lot of, some people that are wider than they are tall, they over discovered that truth because they haven't learned how to deal with the internal traumas and things. And so they're looking for a way to feel better, and it's temporary. And there are other ways too, like drugs, even working out. Some people work out in order to burn through stuff and ignore other things.
Yeah, I think anything done too much, you
Yeah.
know, if they're doing it in the wrong intent.
Well, it's just that we don't know we have traumas. And the deal. So what I did was I trained for 2.5 years, and I'm talking, I went in there, I walked in and searched the whole building, the whole auditorium upstairs. I couldn't find anyone. And all of a sudden I felt like somebody was looking at me, and I was like looking around, and I could tell they were looking in me. Right. And so I just sat down and said, okay, go ahead. I said it out loud, and I sat there. And then I heard the bell on the door. When somebody opened the door, there was this bell, and this lady came down, and this guy came behind her and went around in the kitchen where there's a window thing. And he's like, can I help you? And she asked some questions, and he answered. And then he walked over to me and looked down into my eyes and says, hi, I'm Peter. And he was the one looking at me. And I found out where, after all that training, between the two offices in the back of the auditorium, up the stairs, there is a secret hallway where they sit there while all the clairvoyant students are doing psychic readings, and they watch every reading, the energy of every reading simultaneously. And then they'll come down and help open the door and interrupt the reading if something gets out of hand, and have them reground and reset the energy and begin again. And anyway, I trained in energy work, meditation. It's kind of all very related, and clairvoyant training, which is just seeing clearly, knowing directly, and and what this design is and how it functions, whether you're aware of it or not, and how to communicate with beings without bodies, and how to communicate with other people's deeper level selves. And everything starts with yourself, with you and your deeper level and your direct connection to the source of life itself.
Mm-hmm.
And also clearing your system and working with your programs and de-energizing and collapsing them, the power charges and all the traumas, and functional ways to deal with things that really work. And then you learn how to do it with other people. And this is my first training out of 5 different schools. And the best training. I'm getting goosebumps, truth bumps all over my whole body right now, just because of just remembering that training. And it was like 23 psychics of all levels working together. Training is amazing. And the teachers are amazing, but most of those places shut down except for one of them in Everett, Washington.
Are you a psychic?
Yeah, Claire, well, we all are really.
Clairvoyant.
I just
Yeah, but you've trained to become that, correct?
how to become aware of it. We all the psychic abilities, we all use them, all of us. It's part of our natural function. We just don't have a frame of reference. And so we don't notice because we're focusing on other things like work, relationships, feeding the cat, going for a walk, getting, the cycle that we create, in our lives. We don't have to be aware of these things because we're carried. We're like the deeper level of our being that delivers ideas to us and synchronicities. That level of reality holds it all together so that we can live a life. We don't have to remember our nature in this life, but we can if we choose. And that is what I'm doing. It's a never-ending process of discovery. And the only way that you can engage that effectively is by becoming aware of the deeper level of your being that is forever, that is before this life, during this life, and after this life, the true being that we were trained to forget when we were kids, and to dial in this objective idea that we're a body and we're a girl or a guy, and the never ending programs that go with that. Down to a tear, leaving your tear duct in specific situations or not. If you're a guy or a girl, I mean, it's like saturation campaign. And so we forget our nature. We lose track of it as we're building our personality level, our identity. And what happens is we never referenced our true nature, even though we still are that nature. it's that nature that calls through us, gives us ideas, and that when we're focusing on something, we get more ideas about it. It's a fully superconscious level of our being, and it's not separate from us. We are that. And so it's just this amazing multidimensional situation that
Mhm.
is beyond the word multidimension. That's a linear concept that, we're taught to think, to engage our analytical function, which has a tiny place, one of the little aspects of our system. We're taught to expand it and to have it run everything. And to the point where it will even deny the existence of the intuition. Like, no, that's just your imagination. The biggest, most important, powerful tool we function with is our imagination. Everything is on that level. Everything we see with our eyes, everything we imagine of the future or the past plays out on the imaginal level. Everything we're creating or aligning in our life, if we're discovering that we already are doing that and how to do it on purpose so that we can enjoy what lands instead of have a bad experience. So this system is a specific design of expression and creation, because everything we see was an idea first, and then we brought it about through how we were taught to do so. Not like the blue tarp. That's the more advanced version that we all accidentally stumbled on that, but I know it wasn't an accident. That's the that's the true level of manifestation in the one thing that does exist no matter what, the present moment, now. So we're taught to reference the past and project it into the future and to ignore the present moment. And it's based on fear, sort of, because we have our finger on the pulse of the collective agreements of humanity, of what's acceptable and what isn't. And we're communal beings, or community-oriented beings. And so we don't want to be rejected. It's the worst thing that could ever happen to a being like that, like us,
Mhm.
being made outcast. And so from the very beginning, like in grade school, or even in the family unit, we have our finger on that pulse, and we're adjusting ourselves as we build our identity in alignment from a survival, fight or flight level. And so when we reference the past and project it into the future and don't know our system and what really is real, I mean, what is true is what I mean. That the only thing that really exists is now, right now, for sure, right now exists. And
So,
yeah, the past and the future are not here unless you hold it in thought. And then there's who knows what's in play. Are you worried about something? Is there something you need to placate or confirm a belief you have about yourself, or like, to validate yourself, or, like, like we don't know anything about these things unless we have a natural awareness of it, or unless we discover it by someone who already has, and they point at what's in operation inside of you already. It's already happening. Full function is happening. And someone who already knows through their own personal work, they can just point at it as they see it happening. And then it brings it to your awareness, and now you're conscious of it. And now you can do it on purpose. And it's very simple
uh,
to work.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, you take responsibility for your system. You choose to become aware of what is for
Mhm.
real. Then there's an adjustment period, and you have to work with your system and discover how it functions. It's really important to have somebody point it out for you so that you can avoid 20 years of learning curve, because you're already intelligent. You already are the nature you are. You already breathe. Everything you need to know is already happening. It's just becoming aware of it and then doing it on purpose. That's it. And now the biggest thing is to awaken to the communication from the source level of your being, which is always communicating with every one of us, every moment. And we're just not paying attention. So, and we have no frame of reference. No one pointed that out for us. Actually, they untrained us from listening to our nature and listening more to the programming so that we fit in and hold our place in the family and in in society or culture. Well, there really is no culture in America, but unless it's from another country, and that's been around for 1,000 years because America is really young. And oh yeah, the Native American cultures, they're here, but I think they came from somewhere else too. I mean, everybody's growing and transmigrating over time. So
Could we step back for a moment just before you get on to that?
I wasn't
I
going to go
have
after
some,
that, but yeah.
yeah, I knew it because I'm like, you know what? I've got some great questions here for you. Not little questions. Um,
Queries?
yeah, yeah. So I also had the backdrop that you had growing up. And when I meet people like this, I often ask them this exact question. Why do you think that you were born into that family?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Great question. Because I have discovered that, and I couldn't be what I am now in the way that I became it without ha- as far as I know, everything is chosen. There is no accidents. From the deeper level, the all-knowing level of the fully connected, never separate, fully conscious level of the being we are. And that guides our evolution and our expansion, actually guides its evolution and expansion, or its creation's evolution and expansion. Like until it can stand on its own and be a conscious of what it is and what it's an inseparable part of, like that level of ourself is. And then we become responsible to wield that infinite creative power in alignment with the rest of life. The earth is like a training ground for that. And so I didn't forget your question. So that I needed to be, first of all, to have the stark differences, the awareness, and to be able personally, my mission, part of my mission was to take on the problems, the biggest distortions as a male in this world. Look at the world. That's where all the problems came from, is the distortion. And I'm talking about the, pollution and chemicals and GMO and control freaks and like domination over everybody type shit going on. Oh, excuse me. And uh all the problems came. We Some of us will take those problems on, and we're inseparable from the rest of humanity. We're like one on it. It's like a special consciousness for the bio expression level. And everything that each of us experiences emanates outwards like the sun shining light. That's how you can tell what someone feels like walking the other direction 100 feet away. It's because they're emanating it from them, just like you are and I am, and everything actually, it emanates. And uh, so the biggest one is I needed to not trust not trust outside self-proclaimed authority over me, so that from the beginning I would think for myself, and I would not take on. Well, I tried, that was my idea or my feeling or my nature, was to repel anyone who tried to control me or make me do what they wanted me to do without asking me if I wanted to.
I noticed one thing, as well as with me, but also with others that I've interviewed, and now with you. So I see a pattern forming, and I know the audience has heard me talk about this. Not that it really means anything, but it's just something that I'm noticing. And a lot of people that were of abuse had an abusive childhood, a lot of them I'm noticing having NDEs. Not all of them, obviously, right? But a lot of them. Okay. So I have really noticed this. Number two thing that I've really noticed is that out of these abusive homes, I'm noticing the NDEs, and then I'm also noticing that the children engulfed themselves in something and became really, really, really good at it.
Mhm.
Like kind of to take their pain into passion. I've been noticing this just talking to people. So that's why I asked you about why. But I have one extra. Do
Right.
you think that you have chosen your family and your path?
Oh, sure. You mean, well, the deeper level chose it. I chose to go along with it. We don't have to. Like, we can change our original, the larger, well, well, for sure, we can decide to do something different, even if it was pre-chosen for this life, predispositioned, or if everything was lined up a certain way. Well, if we don't, you know, go along with it, it's going to go another way.
Mm.
And so when you start becoming conscious, you're becoming aware of the nature that you are. Well, that's the same nature that chose this life for the purposes. And what I've noticed is that as you become yourself, there is no more God's will is my will for me, because you're not separate. It's the nature I am is in alignment. And so what I choose is in alignment with the deeper choices that were beyond time choices for being a male, and the way the family was like the door is open in every direction. Like nothing is the same twice, and we can change midstream if we without even knowing it, or if we can do it on purpose. We can do it on purpose. What if our path is like Mother Mary or something? It's like, I am done swimming in this suffering. Like, I'm gonna go this way and do something, experience the opposite, joy, and be around people who are aware like I am. And, you know, you know what I mean? Or we could change. That's just a thought that comes to me. We could change in any way. We can do anything we want. Uh,
Well,
the
you
big-
can, but do you think that it's been mapped out? Like, do you think before, basically what I'm trying to get to is, do you think, oh, I'm gonna sneeze. I'm sorry. Do you think that before you came here, there was a pre-birth plan of you where
Absolutely.
you chose what you were actually going to be experiencing?
the choice came, the shift happened. Yeah, I totally agree I'm pretty sure that's for everyone.
I think so too.
Yeah, because
I think so.
I don't, I have noticed there's no such thing as chaos. Everything is alive and conscious, and everything is the source of life itself makes all of its creations out of its own energy, because that's the ocean. It. And so we are source.
Hmm.
We are the same nature as God made us in God's image type idea. That wasn't talking about our armpits and feet. It was talking about our energy, the being we are. And I'm questioning whether it wasn't talking about the true that big moon thing. That's me. That
Hmm.
is what that verse in the Bible is talking about. That's the direct creation from creation. And then in light, everything creates, like, because they're made of the creation energy. And so that's their nature. That's how we have a cup and a pen and a million other things clogging up the ecosystem.
So tell me then, How do you know, and this is just a question, that big massive ball of pure energy, how did you know that was you?
because that's the upload I got from it, or from that level of my own being. When I stopped and was curious, knock and the door will be open, ask and you will receive. That's probably how the blue tarp happened too. Oh yeah, and at the Psychic Institute, the Capri Sun, when I was training, we would train for 1 hour, just one day a week. If you're only taking one type of training, take a half-hour break to integrate, maybe eat, go pee, go bathroom break, whatever. And then we train for another hour. Then we practice all week and come back and do deep dive training again. And I took all their classes except for I didn't take anyway. So in that half-hour break one time and healing two, where by then I was like dialed, and I had this routine. I would go down the stairs, go to the kitchen, drop $1 in the donation basket, grab a chocolate bar, walk in through the door, go around, open the fridge, grab a Capri Sun, look at the stove. If there was a stew on, I would take stew and drop a couple more dollars in the basket. If not, I would just drink the Capri Sun. This is before I knew about organic. And I would eat the chocolate bar. And I didn't know that when you use your psychic abilities on purpose, it uses up lecithin in your brain. And that chocolate is loaded with it. I was wondering why everyone was always eating chocolate there. I wasn't even really into chocolate, but I started getting into it, like, because apparently it repopulates your brain with lecithin.
Oh, I love chocolates.
Yeah, amongst a dozen other things. So one day I come down from deep training out, like it was still rolling in my system. I come down the stairs and I'm processing, and I do the normal thing like I just outlined. And when I open the fridge, there was no Capri Sun. And so I searched the whole fridge. There was just condiments on the upper shelf around the edges, all the way. I'm talking, there was no space. Condiments, like bottles, dressing and everything. I searched the whole fridge, and I get the word arrogant, I guess. I closed the fridge, but I knew that there was one in there. I just knew because it was always there. And so, but it was like this drive in me. And so I started to turn away. Then I grabbed the fridge, opened it, searched it again, top to bottom, everything. And I slammed the door, not slammed it, but just threw it shut, walked out. I took 2 steps, and on that, going for that third step, something shifted in the energy. And I felt these like bubbles come out of my forehead, like 3, like on a cartoon where the fish bubbles come out. Like it was like the first one was small, the second one was a little bigger, and the third one was bigger. Like boop, boop, boop. I stopped mid-step, planted my foot like in martial art training when you sense something. You plant and go blank and tune into everything, and all at once. And I turned around and I went to the fridge and opened it, and there's a Capri Sun on the top front edge of the fridge, the shelf. And I just grabbed it. Boom. And I said it out loud. I knew that was there. And I walked off, drank this toxic stuff, threw the wrapper away, which is also toxic. I mean, that proved to me later on when I thought about it, that proved to me that you can materialize anything, including toxic substances. Because a Capri Sun is not good for you, and it's fully made of plastic and foil or who knows what. And who knows what. And
I don't even know what it is. What
yeah,
is it?
it's just one of those squishy juice foil pack juice things, and there's a straw glued to the side. You pop it out of its wrapper and puncture it, and then drink it. I guess they might not have them anymore. I don't know. I'm all organic since 99 and 1999, and when I had a yoga instructor girlfriend, and she looked at me like, "You need to change your diet." She was all organic, non-GMO, wild crafting dandelions, making salads. Like she was in wilderness training. That's one of the things I got into. But anyway, yeah, yeah. Like, um, so the biggest message I really have is that um, I was watching one of your recent videos, and it caused me to realize a lot of things, like to remember, to re-recognize a bunch of stuff, and about how we process and what level of our being we're coming from, and where we're at in our growth and our unfoldment. It
Hmm.
That in itself will depict how you translate everything, including a near-death experience, including if you leave your body. Like I've been out of my body a few times on purpose, like backside of the moon. I scared the hell out of somebody in a base on the backside of the moon. I was just trying to remote view it, and I accidentally projected there in this body. I don't even know what body it was. It was like these little balls of power that were vibrating. And
Wow.
it was this body, though. It was like another layer of this body. And I like landed in this guy's doorway. Total power, right? And he was like super psychic. And he was looking out this low, thick window. I could see the surface of the moon through the window he was looking at. And he was a white guy with shoulder length brown hair. That's non-military. And he was absolutely psychic. He was more psychic than I maybe even am now. And on the back, so my intention with my girlfriend, she was training at the Psychic Institute with me at the time. I said, we're bored as heck. We're in the parking lot at night, the Hagen's parking lot, which is a grocery store. His family owns it. And I'm like, hey, let's remote view the backside of the moon and see if there's any alien bases. And she's like, okay. And so it was her car, and she got in the back seat because she had the steering wheel in front of her. And so she got back there, and I think it was because I was walking her through the remote viewing steps that I projected. I because I'd not. That's the only thing I could think that I was doing different. I was leading instead of fumbling around trying to get this thing to work that I actually learned from reading some guy in the CIA's book, Jack Schwartz, who taught the CIA how to do this. And so I was fumbling around in those days. That was 1997. And I landed in this guy's doorway. And what I noticed is there was no lights. Everything glowed the perfect shade of white. The ceiling, the walls, the floor, cupboards, everything was the light. And there was no edges, I noticed, no corners. Everything was rounded, except for the window. The window was rectangular and it was low. And this guy went like, and he turned around and he looked right in my eyes with this mean look on his face. And he's like, I gotcha. And I was like, oh, and I jumped back into my body. And I was like, holy crap, I got busted, right? And I didn't even know how it happened to start with. It was spontaneous, sort of. Yeah. And then they sent a team after me and my girlfriend for like at least a month. They were following us around. I didn't even know where they came from. They were like 6'10". They're huge white guys with these thick glasses. And now this is before Google glasses and all that, and telecommunications and cell phones and or well, the kind we have now. And I was like, not long ago, I was like, I bet those were like Google glasses, or they're from some other dimension or something, because these guys were coming out of nowhere and they were just standing there staring at us like, and I was like, I would run. Like if I was by myself and they were following me or something, I'd run and ditch them in the alleys. And then when I started my second psychic training, uh, in with this person who used to train at the Psychic Institute, when I started training, she was already 5 years into it, teaching the clairvoyant students. She was at top level. She practiced for 30 more years and then started her own school and shifted a couple things around. I found her in the yellow pages.
The yellow pages.
Yeah. And so I
You have those?
yeah, I don't know. That was in 2012. Um, and so I was the manager of that estate on Orcas Island I told you about earlier and before the interview. And um, I had to leave the estate 2 times a week to go to training, go off the island to the mainland, go all the way to Bellingham, my hometown. And I had to stay the night and come back, which was really bad because I was security for that whole multi-million-dollar estate and manager and project manager and supervisor. And so I for 6 months, I trained and allowed myself to leave for more than 6 hours. And because I was hooked in with the deputies and the alarm company and the owners in California. And I mean, I was like locked in there. And so anyway, I tested this psychic out. I was like, because I knew some of the glitches they had in their institute with their control issues and stuff, like, and which I never mentioned before. And I mean, I got kicked out twice. They're like, your energy is bouncing off the walls. You need to leave until you get a grip on your energy system, and then come back. And so I'd have to I'm like, well, aren't you supposed to be showing me how to deal with this stuff? And they're like, you're disrupting the class. Or when I was going through some serious crap that came forward, right? And right when I needed their help the most, they're like, get lost. So I had a few issues with these guys. It's probably a good thing that all 7 branches don't exist anymore. But
Wow.
and so so I tested her. My mom had already died. She'd already visited me 8 times the first year. Full blown visits, like broad daylight, eyes open. I can see energy. Like I see both levels with my eyes open, right? It doesn't matter. You can't turn it off once you open to the inner levels of your own being and of
Mm.
life. There's no going back, by the way, to all the people out there. Like, because I teach this stuff and walk people through like 6 weeks of training and healing sessions and stuff. And I just want everyone to know there's no going back. Once you open that door, you don't want to go back, no matter how hard it is.
No.
But I mean, to work through your traumas and things. But having the tool bag is what you need. Recognition, having someone shorten your learning curve by pointing really important things out, the most important things that will carry you through, starting with the relationship between the deeper level of your own being, which is your true teacher, and this level of yourself. And that interplay that's always happening, becoming conscious of it so that that level informs you like it always has. You're aware of it now, and now you make a different agreement with that level so that you receive more information and you give it permission to interrupt you while you're engaged. Because the normal protocol is that, like, if you can't remember something and you're like chanting, I can't remember, I can't find my keys or whatever. It's when you let it all go that your true intention is delivered, which is to find your keys or to remember what you were trying to say. And so, but you can give that level of yourself permission to work directly with you while you're consciously focusing. And that level of my being showed me how to do that because it is my true teacher and it is your true teacher, your level, that level of your being. And, or it's the potential is there. It's just like, whether you're want to know or not. Do you want to become conscious?
So you're saying that we all have one of those balls?
I see that there's no separation, and there's
Okay.
like 3 levels that I'm aware of so far. There's the ocean of life, like what people call God, the actual primary creator source level that holds all of its that is. See, what I've discovered is life isn't permanently stuck. It's expanding and growing. That includes God. And God or source or the creational primary source of life that all things spring from, creations, it's really hard to put your finger on the way to word it because there is no word for it. There's some languages, it's the word that cannot be spoken. Or, like it's because there is no word for it, so it can't be spoken. But you can sure dance around it. And so and, so that there's that the source creational level, it makes everything out of its own self, its own energy. And so everything is a creative principle. So the nature of nature, or the nature of source, is our nature also. And that's why we create, because, well, we're made of creative principle. And so we create, and that's just our nature. And it's kind of like water's wet and air blows or whatever, like it's like nature is nature, and that's what we're made of. And so that's what shines through us, and we're made of it. Like the deeper level showed me this special thing, upload thing, full upload. I am made of source. Source radiates through me back into itself, circulating. And that is how it grows itself, because we are differentiated drops of the ocean that are experiencing a reality and a new way of being, a new person. This is new. What we are here is like a new blossom on an ancient tree.
Mm.
And so we're made of it. We're swimming in it. With every focus, we're harnessing it and creating currents and focusing the raw source energy. We're made of the source energy. We're experiencing life. We may not even know what we are. Most of us don't, and aren't aware yet. You will when you drop your body. You'll know, and and so it's not required. And this, I tell people, it's not required that you wake up. It's not a necessity. It's
So,
not required, because you will wake up anyway.
so where is the afterlife? Where's the afterlife? Where do
But
you go when
the
you shed this
afterlife
body? Like,
is,
what do you think it is?
I call it the more that is, and what is already. It is, well, you see, we got to be careful because we're made of creative energy. Therefore, we create, and any concept we hold as true, or anything that we conceive. You know what conception is, right?
Mhm.
When we conceive it, we literally birth it. We're not supposed to be in amnesia and forgetting what we are and who we are and what this is. But we born into this for a reason. Because of that, well, what is it like to forget you're an infinite being? Eternal. Like, what is it like to be limited? What is pain? Suffering. Like, well, to start with, suffering is separation anxiety, having forgot your connection, what you are and what you're an inseparable part of. That alone creates suffering from the beginning. Like that hole in our chest we're trying to fill with everything. Like, and we're satisfied for a moment, but then we're looking again, which just doesn't work because we haven't recalled what we are. We're looking though, because we are what we are, and that part of us is calling through us, and we don't. I was going to say shit show. It's a train wreck, because it can be, because this design is made for us to be fully conscious, and there's a psychic immune system. What we choose, we're supposed to choose it to hold as true for ourselves is true for us.
Mhm.
Your psychic immune system repels all of the never-ending, growing, infinite, living data, information. It all holds off. It only attunes and allows in conformational loop energy and frequency.
Interesting.
And so now you're like, see, I told you, look. And you point right at it, because we only see what we look for. and we're only looking for what we know to be as true, what confirms what we hold. It may not be positive. It may not be negative. It could be anything.
Yeah, but if I hold a thought in my mind and I have a near death experience, my thought could maybe take me to somewhere that looks hellish.
Your transition will happen in alignment with what you have come to know to be. And it's see, this is the one thing I noticed when I was watching one of your other videos that came to the forefront from the deeper level is, well, we are not steering our evolution, not yet. We can partake in it. We can recognize our nature, which means recognizing the larger nature, which means recognizing the larger nature, the nature of life itself, which is what you are. And then naturally you live in alignment with your nature because you only go for what your nature calls for through or in this realm, in this case. Like, this matches my nature. That matches my nature. Now we're taught to. In the Christian Bible, it says, make your yeses yes and your no's no. 100%. We're taught to look over there. First of all, forget what we are and what this is. This is a creation suit, like an attunement suit. Like, we're taught, oh yeah, there's 40% that doesn't feel right. Or no, 60% doesn't feel right to my nature. But I want that 40% that does. And so I'm going to do that and put up with that 60% to get what I want. Signing a mortgage, paying taxes, being free. I'll put up with this in order to have that. That is not 100% yes or 100% no. That is violating your own nature without even knowing you have a nature. Because we forgot, we're in amnesia. We think we're in charge. No, we know what's going on.
But what does it hurt? What
Nothing.
does it hurt? Because not everybody's going to be awakening to their true nature.
It doesn't hurt anything except for you. If it doesn't feel good, okay, you know that instant karma idea?
Sure.
Well, that's simple. You hold it, you feel it, you hold it in your focus, you feel it, and you're experiencing it directly, and that's instant karma.
Mm-hmm.
Simple. Because all that
So,
exists is the present moment, not the future retribution or the past. Because of the past, I'm going to have to pay for it in the future. That doesn't even exist except for that we hold that construct as true in reality. And we remind ourselves of it through that calendar. And we're saturated with this concept of linear time. We buy into it, we live it, we get a watch, we do the whole thing. So it exists. The moment we let it go, there is no time. There's only cycles of source nature in the construct of its creation. And in this case, a planet, seasons, a sun, a galaxy, a larger universal body. And boy, do I have some stories about all that. But I don't know if there's time. And so,
you know, for
yeah.
many people that are listening,
Uh-huh.
right? They have a deep fear of death and basically what comes after death. And do you fear death? And if, and I don't think you do, I have this feeling that you're going to say, I do not. But what comes next for them to give them reassurance?
Well, the only way that we can escape those um, perceptions that we've taken on or inherited even
Mhm.
from our family and from society and our culture, our religion. Oh, I almost forgot that one. I got reminded from that deeper level. I was like, don't forget religion. Uh, like, it's like, dude. um, so like, uh, well, it's not that we're escaping anything. It's that we're embracing what we are and what is. The only way out is to go direct. And I'm getting like full body truth bumps when that just came through me. Like, because when we go to see what I've noticed in my life that's been happening lately, I trained in 5 different systems. Wild Goose Qigong, Spring, so 6, maybe even more. I don't even know. Reiki Master, Therapeutic Touch. The Spring Forest Qigong was their whole healing system, that one. Then the Psychic Institute was even beyond name, like
Mhm.
teaching everything.
But what about for the average person?
These are just ideas. Everything's falling away. It's like the distillation of truth is the recognition of what you are. It's like your nature, because you're made of nature, the nature of life, the source of life itself. You are composed of it. You are made of life. How much more worthy could somebody be, by the way? You're made of what created that universe and that atom and this body and everything, except for, yeah, I guess everything, because nothing isn't source. Well, the easiest way I discovered is to go direct, is to start discovering what this is. And then when you do that, all of a sudden, you realize you're not your computer. You are the owner operator of your computer. And because now you're the one operating it on purpose. And so you can't not notice you're not that thing anymore, which is your body.
Right.
You're more than it. You're expressing through it. It is a reflection. It does mirror reality, but what you hold as true. So what we're after is the baseline creational function and how we're using it every moment, and the baseline relationship with the source of our being or with God. I, by the way, I remember someone talking about Jesus, meeting Jesus. Oh yeah, I met Jesus too. I was starting to doubt whether it wasn't just some psychosis of humanity. Like,
I met Jesus.
yeah, well, we call him
In my NDE. It was really strange, and I for the longest time, I wondered why I did. I'm not religious, so I've never
yeah,
practiced,
there is the
and
Jesus.
so I was a little bit thrown off because I was, what the heck? Because it was the vision of Jesus that I had learned.
Oh, yeah.
So I sat and thought and pondered and pondered and pondered that because, well, if you don't believe, you're not, Jesus would never come for you, right?
Maybe.
Jesus came to my NDE.
Yeah.
I remembered him for some reason, really strongly too. Like it was a real strong remembrance.
Right.
So maybe everybody just has their own thing.
Well, see, there was this class in the last psychic training. I was the immediate advanced student because I already learned all their stuff from the other school. And so that was a plus for the owner of this school. And so we're in class. I still took all her classes anyway, because she had I wanted to, you can never do the basics enough. Let me tell you, like breathe, drink water, eat food. I mean, well, you can do it enough, but you can't. It's like, I get the word apply, applying it enough, like from the deeper level. I'll just move on from it. So this was called communicating with spirit. This particular 8-week, no, I think it was 6 weeks. This particular one, once a week. And so each week we communicated with a different level of spirit, like our guides, departed loved ones. And this week I'm going to refer to was ascended masters. And so we're in a circle. We didn't sit like in school. We sat in a circle like God intended, quote unquote, like a nest or a teepee or the natural, like the shape of the planet, like Like, I know some people think it's flat, but I've been outside of it looking back at it, and I know for sure it's a big ball. And the moon too. And so it's like it's not flat. If you believe it's flat, no one can convince you otherwise. Or the other way around. If you believe it's round, nobody can convince you otherwise if it really is flat or was flat, you know, like uh so because everything is absolute because we are creator. There is no diffused flower. There is nothing that isn't fully what it is in creation. That includes us and what we hold as true. So, because we are that nature. And so we are like, we decree with our choice. That's what the inner level told me to say. Our choice, not just choice implies conscious awareness. I can see why it said that at a deeper level, like threw that into my mind. So, so we're made of life. We're swimming in it. We wield infinite creative power with every thought and focus. No, more like every focus and feeling we generate. Because the feeling is the juice behind it that actualizes it, depending on the consistency of your focus. Like if you chant it over and over and over, like, I'll never get rich. Oh man, I'm gonna be broke forever. You know, like it. We chant in a way. We chant things into reality. Like we, in a sense, we could use that word because what do we do all the time? We're constantly repeating things, and that's the consistency that creates a creation that brings it forward. And so, I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but
You needed to, I think.
apparently, so we are what we are. The answer is the everything we're seeking is in full function within us already now, and the only thing we need to notice is what we're not noticing. It would become conscious of what we're unconscious of.
Right.
And that's my job. I will not walk somebody through healing, you know, energy system healing and repair and all that, for more than 4 to 6 weeks, unless they just really, you know, hire me to do that, because you are your own teacher. You're made of life. Life is the true teacher. And it's up to me. My job is not to put you on a schedule every Thursday at 3 o'clock for the next 20 years, having you chant over and over the problem so that the solution, and which blocks out the solution because you're focusing on the problem. The problem and the solution are not the same thing, the same energy. They're a different frequency, a different vibrational reality, really. And so, yeah, sure, I could do it that way. And my house would be paid off and I'd be driving the next brand new car, which I wouldn't because of all the frequencies in them. I mean, that are hammering your DNA, but the, the microwaves, but so, but my theory is if you're going to help someone, give them the answer. And the answer is you. You are the answer. Your nature. What you are is the answer, not who you are, what you are. Because we got all kinds of ideas of who we are on the identity level, like 100 layers of identity, depending on, you know, this will trigger you back to when you're 3, and that'll trigger you when you're 27, and this will trigger you, boom, bring something, and we're like packing around. It's like we're pulling a train. We're like a Michelin man on that sign. We're like loaded with things that at any moment are going to be triggered to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to understand how this system works, how it functions, so that we can unload. And like I didn't finish saying, like what's happened with me is all this complexity has been falling away. And the only thing that's left is kind of like air, water, food, energy, body. No, I'm only saying it that way because this is what we all do. This is what we partake in. This is what
Mm-hmm.
is the commonality. The distillation of what we are has nothing to do with an idea about what we are. What we are and an idea about it are two completely separate things. The only way we can know ourselves is to go direct. And if we're coming from an objective perception level, like we got to know ourselves in relationship to everything outside of us our whole life without ever referencing our true nature. We were trained to forget it, and we forgot it by focusing on this instead. This is what's real. And everyone dialed us in, and then we police each other. It's not Caribbean, it's Caribbean. It's not potato, it's potato. No, that's not blue, that's green. Like, and there is no one reality like that. The diversity on this earth is a reflection of the diversity of the creation of the core source of life itself.
Mm.
There's nothing created the same way twice. And not one blade of grass. Everything is individual, unique, expressing and growing the larger source. The larger source grows itself. Not only does it grow itself through its creations, it gives us the being we are. Like, we are now an actual being. When before we didn't exist at a certain point. Like the larger level, like that planet thing that I saw pushing up against this universe, that also was created by Source. The source of life, the primary creative nature that has no word to name it. Like, spelling, what does that even mean? It's like magic.
Spells.
Yep. That's exactly what it means.
You are one amazing man. You have spent a lot of time on this, haven't you? You've really done a lot of work on yourself, and it clearly shows.
Well, no one knows
so
better.
much for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. But
Well,
no
no,
one
for real though.
where they're at in their own self, because we can only compare ourselves to our own growth and
Yeah,
experience.
true. But
We-
without people
I'm
like
not aware
you,
enough.
we can't get there. You know what I mean? So without people that are doing the work on themselves like you,
Right.
we need people like you so we can get there,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you've done extensive work, like probably more than anybody I've talked to. I would almost say, to be honest, like this show could have been like 5 hours here going over like totally different points. But I don't want to forget this part because you have offerings and services, and I want to make sure that everybody that's listening and wants to know more about you because how interesting you are, they know where they can find you, your services, and what you offer, and exactly how they can connect with you.
jkenergyhealing.life.
I thought you were going to say something a little bit more.
Oh, well,
I'm
what comes to me before I said that was to give you guys a taste
okay,
of,
sure.
because there's one thing I show everyone and I practice. One thing I want to say, life, I call it in living motion. You got to maintain your stuff in living motion, just like cleaning your living room or taking a shower. And if you don't, then you got a lot of work to do in order to get level. But although what I want to show you is how to get level, no matter what you've collected in your life or how you feel.
Okay.
There's a lot to this, a lot more than I'll probably be able to point out in this short moment. But I call it the dilation breath. I used to call it the open breath. That's on my YouTube channel. The old like
You can find this
4 years ago. It's JK Energy Healing. I don't remember if there's any separations in those words when you type it in, but you'll see my face. I'm probably wearing a camouflage hat backwards.
I'll put all the links in the
Okay,
description.
good enough on there. And I called it the open breath because you hold your breath open at the top. I was shown this breath. Okay, keep in mind, I did, oh yeah, I forgot, yoga training. I did a lot of training, a lot. I'm still doing it. And I mean, training is more like discovery and practice, application, practice, noticing and adjusting and listening to your intuition, letting your inner deeper intelligence be the leader. Like, but it's not separate from you. It's just not going for that description you stored 20 years ago, but seeing what is right now instead of the projection and listening. So this level showed, after all those years of breath work, I still didn't know anything. We don't even know how we breathe. I mean, how the heck are we going to micromanage a multidimensional system that's interconnected with at least 13 dimensions right now? This, from an analytical perspective, that doesn't even know how it breathes. It ain't happening. And so one thing I want to say is that complexity, to describe something analytically, is very complex, but the intuitive simplifies everything because it engages all the internal levels: comprehension, realization, direct knowing, gut feeling. What else? I mean, all those inner, that is the deeper level speaking through us. And if we're stuck on, pulling from the shelf the description and the projecting over what a tree is, what we come to know it to be, that level of ourself will comply, will give us what we're asking for, and we will have a life like that. It'll just be regurgitation and of something that is non-evolutionary, unless you learn how to turn that wood into more than firewood. But yeah, if you notice, objective perception never addresses or includes the living being, the consciousness, the living being, and the consciousness of the living being, the awareness level of everything. That's left out in our training from birth. Like, oh yeah, I have a spirit somewhere. Someday I might. You are the being. You are the soul, or whatever. We're not even a soul. And the higher self isn't way over there, higher up there. We are the higher self. We are the one whole being. Like, and we can become aware from different aspects of ourself. We can be the surface level that knows nothing, but thinks it knows everything. Because it has a Webster dictionary this thick right there and some encyclopedias that, that none of it's true unless you hold it as true for you, and then it will be for you. And then that's your life. There you go. like, and like, so what we want to do is go live. I was saying go direct, but go live. Like, that's a new one that just popped up on how to say it from that live level of myself. Like, like everything is alive, so we might as well join the picture. I mean, join the truth. Like, we're alive. Death.
Mm-hmm.
When you said death earlier, I saw the word transit. Wait.
Transition is what I like to say.
Yeah, that and trans something, transformation, transition. I got the word translation even. Like, we're translating to another level, like, of our very own being, the life that we are.
To be true.
We can't escape ourselves, so we might as well just jump in. so
Will you tell the audience how they can find you before we forget that part? Because I would really like to let them know where they can find you.
Well, it's JK.
And what you offer.
Find me? You mean like my email?
Yeah, and do you have a website?
Yeah, JK Energy Healing. JK is like John Kelley, that's my name. JK Energy Healing .life. Because that's what we are. And I mean, that's what it's
And on your website, what can they find there? Like what
all.
services you offer, and are they in person or are they online only?
Well, like Zoom or uh, all the healing work, unless you live in my area in the Black Hills in South Dakota, or you pay for my flight, you know, like uh, you got to be here. Like tomorrow, I have a student coming. Above my house is a yoga studio and it's tantra yoga. It's not mine, but uh, um, I hear them up there once in a while. Well, I'm going to be teaching her up there tomorrow, or actually doing healing work with her directly.
Hmm.
First, I got to clear her out because I don't think she's ever had a real clearing. You know, all
And
your
so what
meridian.
is it that you do that? Like you do Reiki or?
What I do, I've gone direct. I can sometimes I have fallback techniques, right? Like general pure life source healing energy flushes from the feet all the way up and out the top of your head. And when I do that, I the reason I'll do that is to first of all unify your system and also hit the blocks that are there because it lights them up. And because the energy can't flow right there, it goes around like in a river, it goes around a rock, right? And so I'll just generally start like that, like, or I'll put a beam of pure, true source energy through you. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Like we can move energy anywhere, starting with ourselves. If you're right over there, 3 feet away, that's a remote energy clearing because you're not me. You're over there. I did it with my ex-partner, Holly. We were driving and she's like, I got a splitting headache. Can you give me a clear? Can you clear it for me? Which is really easy. And I said, all right, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to give you a remote energy clearing, just like I clear people in Arabia and Germany and anywhere in the world, you know, anywhere, because there is no time and space on the true energy level. We just make that idea up. It's more of a tuning to
Hmm.
frequencies. And so in front of me, I put her head and I brought in a beam and siphoned out the what isn't her system or her nature. Boom, her headache disappeared. But she's sitting right there next to me driving. And what I was showing her is the truth that everything is a remote energy clearing, whether you're 3 feet away or whether your body is right in front of me. You know,
Hmm.
I mean
Hmm.
that's a little different.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So what it is tuning to someone's energy. And what you're doing is interfacing with, like, I call it the golden octave. I discovered the ascended master realm, the level that works with these levels, but they're all specialists, and there's infinite different kinds. And I discovered it by tuning into when I was really tired of what's going on in this world and of my own unhealed traumas, also because I could feel them, in my system because I'm so aware, right? And I'm like, okay, I need a break. And so all of a sudden, my inner level showed me that I can tune in to all of the ascended civilizations throughout the entire cosmos. And that it also showed me that this little thing going on Earth is the exception to the rule. Everyone else is aware. There is no war. They know who they are, what they are. They know what life is. They know the creative function of their being. They work in alignment with nature. Everything they create enhances nature, doesn't destroy it. And so I discovered the existence of these civilizations and how to tune into them and feel relief.
Your energy is giving me that very relaxing feel. Unbelievable. All of a sudden I'm like, hey, holy.
And then I discovered, oh, well, there's there's a level of I was shown discovery is being shown from the all-knowing level of your own being, the fully conscious level of yourself that is holding you until you become conscious. You see, like a very loving parent, not trying to live your life for you. Because how will you ever learn anything if you
Mm.
don't think for yourself, make decisions,
So true.
and live? Life is the true teacher. You are life. You're made of it.
I love that.
Everything anyone ever showed you, you taught yourself. Because they can't crawl in your body and run all your system for you. You looked at it, engaged your own intelligence, adjusted, and were able to imitate or reflect within your own system the way they're holding their system. So
Mhm.
you have always been your own teacher, and you always will be. There's no matter what you say or what you hold as true for yourself, because of the way this system is designed, that it blocks out everything that doesn't confirm what you hold as the truth or what you hold as true for you or as real, or I don't know how to word it exactly perfect. It kind of contains a lot of stuff, a lot of beliefs and conclusions we've come to. Scratching your head. I have just concluded this. Boom, energy lock. Conclusion. Now you have a confirming loop that you just created. You've concluded. No more evolution there. Like, life is constantly expanding and growing. That's us and everything else. And we're increasing. I just got the word increase. Like, we are increasing. We increase ourselves. Magnification just came up too. Like, it's like, it's interesting because anything that we can refer to in language is more like a unconscious mechanism that has no life.
Mhm.
But there's nothing that isn't life. So everything is conscious. An atom, everything in its own way is aware. Even that dead carcass on the side of the road,
Mhm.
all those atoms are in transition, transforming into it. They're new, going, everything is alive. Everything is conscious. The animating force or being level of that deer or whatever is somewhere else. Or standing right there looking at you, look at it, at its body that it used to inhabit or used to, I don't know, I got the word orchestrate. That's odd.
Mhm.
Like, I get all see,
Yep.
this is how it happens. When you go direct or go live, it's like the never ending discovery and new things come through you. You can't get bored like with supposed education. Oh my God, that
Mhm.
slave training. Yes, sir. Oh, can I go to the bathroom? It's like, aren't you a living being? You know what the word authority comes from? Its root word, author.
Mm.
Author. You are your own author.
That's right.
You are a sovereign and unified being. Both. That's what we really are. So,
Mm.
do I got to ask some stranger over there that when my body and I know what I need for myself, do I have to get permission to do that? No. I'm just going to go to
That's such an eye opener just to say that. This was so fun, and don't ever be sorry, ever. John, thank you so much for your openness, for sharing such a deeply personal journey. Um, your story is a reminder that even the most turbulent beginnings can lead to profound awakenings. And I want to thank you personally for bringing your light and your wisdom to us here at the Returned.
Thanks. I want to acknowledge your light also, because you're
Oh,
doing great work. Like,
thank you very much.
I'm sure this had something to do with one of the reasons you chose this life in this time. Like, yeah, if there is such thing as time, you know what I mean, though.
I do. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you for saying
All right.
that. And to everyone listening or in the audience, may this story be a reminder
I
I
know.
totally went blank. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that
That's
that was
okay.
good. Be a reminder.
Yeah. Experiences don't find us by accident.
Mm,
They arrive when we're ready to remember something deeper. And
ready and
until next
deep.
time, stay open, stay curious, and keep returning to the truth within you.